Welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. I'm Katlego, and we'd appreciate it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, liked and shared this video with other citizens. Guys, before we begin, just listen to this fool.
Let me take this opportunity to really humble myself by appreciating those who invited me here to Rhodes University. Cecil John Rhodes University, named after the most brutal colonizer, the most racist and imperialist, who would not have wanted you who are seated here to be here today, because he hated everything else that looked like us and treated us like slaves and animals. And we are shocked that we still, 30 years after democracy, have institutions like this one, where it's supposed to be a stage for intellectual contestation, still being called after the most brutal individuals who have made our life pain and misery. Grahamstown has changed the name to Makanda. Why can't this university change a name for a better name?
Is Cecil John Rhodes the only man who committed evils on earth? No, not at all. Look at this woman. This is Efunroye Tinubu, a Nigerian loved by many Nigerians, viewed as a hero. She was one of the most notorious slave traders from Nigeria. When Britain, yes, that Britain, the one you hate so much, was trying to abolish the slave trade in the Western world, Efunroye Tinubu did not want to stop the slave trade in Nigeria. The British had their country where they had abolished the barbarism of slavery, and they went into Africa to try to stop the same barbarism of slave trade. They wanted all slave traders, whether white or black, to stop trading slaves. But no matter how hard they tried, this woman, Efunroye, who is still viewed as a legend by many Nigerians today, wanted to continue with slavery. So Britain signed a treaty with the King of Lagos to make sure that the transatlantic slave trade would stop within Lagos. And even though the British did everything in their power to end slavery, even though they had signed a treaty with the King of Lagos, Efunroye Tinubu kept on selling slaves no matter what. She herself had hundreds of slaves. On one occasion, Tinubu was said to have sold a young boy into slavery, and when questioned about it, she reportedly explained, "I have a large household and I must feed them well. I need money to do that. That's why." And that is the mindset of many, many people on earth. It doesn't matter whether the person is black or white. They simply only care for themselves. Efunroye would trade slaves in exchange for things like guns sometimes. She was known to be a wealthy woman, and all that did not make her feel mercy for the so-called black child. There was no Pan-Africanism in her heart. In another occasion during a slave trade transaction, she said she would rather drown the 20 slaves than sell them at a discount. But look at Nigerians now. They even erected a statue to honor the same woman. After all the black people she sold, after all she did, subjecting fellow Africans to slavery, suffering, and pain, Nigerians have erected a monument in her honor. But no one will say anything negative about that. No one will complain about her evil deeds, and no one will complain about the erection of a monument to honor her. For some reason, she will simply be praised as if she was all good. Nigeria's current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is her direct descendant, and they voted for him in Nigeria, the descendant of a slave trader. In South Africa, you don't even have to have Rhodes as your surname. Just be white and you are treated funny, even if your family had nothing to do with colonization or apartheid. Funny world, huh? Right here in South Africa, we have our own monuments too, right? We have Shaka Zulu, the greatly loved warlord, admired by many people too. Instead of being happy with his own kingdom, he decided to cause great turmoil throughout the southern regions of this continent. Many people died in the process. Many nations were displaced in the process. The Ndebele people feel like second-class citizens in Zimbabwe. Why? Because they ran away from Shaka with their leader Mzilikazi. They are supposed to be South African, but they're not. They are Zimbabweans now, and there's nothing they can do about it. They are Zimbabweans because of Shaka, not because of colonialism. Upon the death of his mother, we hear that he committed severe crimes against his own people, but let's not dwell on that now. So how did we, as modern-day South Africans, benefit from all Shaka Zulu's efforts? How did modern-day Nigerians benefit from Efunroye Tinubu's slave trade? They are both dead. They both leave behind a history of their great exploits as mighty people, but there's nothing for us, you and I, to show for it. When they died, did they leave behind any wealth in the form of infrastructure, roads, schools, or anything to benefit us right now? No. In fact, we, the current taxpayers, are the ones who are now funding their graves and funding their statues. They stole, looted, enslaved, raided, but there's nothing to show for it, not even a clinic or a hospital. So in comes the most hated, Cecil John Rhodes. He became so powerful that Zimbabwe was once named after him. Many companies exist today because of him. He wanted to build a railway line that went from Cape to Cairo. He failed to achieve that goal, but he could have achieved that goal if he worked hard enough. This is based on or judging from his other achievements. I'd say this too was achievable. He established De Beers, a company that provides employment for thousands of people to this day. Many lives were lost to achieve that. Many people lost out on a lot of things because of that. However, there is something positive to show for it to this very day. He established the Rhodes Scholarship, which affords students from across the world an opportunity to study at the University of Oxford. They say more than 100 students are given an opportunity to study at the University of Oxford every year through the Rhodes Scholarship. Many of the people who qualified for the scholarship have gone on to become ministers, presidents, scientists, and so forth. Yes, Cecil John Rhodes plundered Africa and hurt Africans, but so did Shaka Zulu, and so did Efunroye Tinubu. The difference, though, is that one established something that is benefiting this generation, and two did not. Rhodes' will upon his death required the establishment of the Rhodes Scholarship. He also established the Rhodes Trust, which is the same trust which released the grant that built Rhodes University. Yes, the same Rhodes that plundered also established many institutions that are still benefiting many people in South Africa today. And no, they are not only benefiting white people. The goals of Cecil Rhodes in creating the scholarships were to promote civic-minded leadership among young people with moral force of character and instincts to lead. These are the words of his 1899 will. And in the words of a 1901 codicil to his will, to help render war impossible through promoting understanding between the great. The same Rhodes Trust is the one that is responsible for the establishment of the Mandela Rhodes Scholarship. So Rhodes' money did not only go to eating cows, buying Gucci, or buying guns, but it went to establishing institutions of value for the people of the nation and the world. His statues are attacked for doing what everyone was doing during his time. Slavery was a way back then, so we forgive Efunroye Tinubu. Wars of conquest were the way back then, so we forgive Shaka Zulu for displacing the Ndebeles and many other people. We forgive them. They didn't leave us much to remember them by, but still, we forgive them. Cecil John Rhodes leaves behind great institutions that add great value to our society, But hey, Julius Malema wants us to delete him from history. If we want to remember him, let's only remember him for negativity, for colonialism, and many other bad things. Rhodes Must Fall becomes a song that they wish to sing loud in universities funded by the same men they want to delete. Imagine that. All races of people are responsible for creating pain and suffering, but not everyone left as valuable things that we can appreciate. Even today, some of those with power and influence prefer spending their money on slay queens, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Ferraris, and things for them to enjoy. Not everyone will do something that benefits people for tens or thousands or hundreds of years into the future. Companies like De Beers have crimes that they still need to answer for, by the way, but they still do exist and they provide employment. Still, they should answer for their crimes, especially their modern crimes. But Cecil Rhodes should not be judged by our modern standards when he lived by the standards of an era that was barbaric. Just as Shaka Zulu and Efunroye Tinubu should not be judged by our modern standards when they lived by the standards of an era that was barbaric. By the way, Shaka Zulu banned circumcision because he wanted to prioritize his wars and military activities. Why don't we hate him for disrupting our culture and traditions? But when I say let's think of changing that initiation culture for the lives and the well-being of South African young men, some people hate me for it. Shaka Zulu banned it, and it was indeed banned for a long time. Only in the early 2000s did the Zulu king come and say he wants circumcision to come back since it helped with avoiding HIV transmissions. So if it is about HIV transmissions, why can't we do it at a clinic? My culture, our culture. Someone please get this message to the people in Rhodes University and tell them to start taking seriously the great institutions that they have been entrusted with. Do not allow communism to destroy your schools, the schools that your children and grandchildren can benefit from.
In March of 2015, students at the University of Cape Town launched Rhodes Must Fall, a movement that not only brought down a statue but sparked a global campaign to decolonize education. So what does it mean to be a student activist, and what's been the global impact of not just the movement but the play as well?
One of Britain's most prestigious institutions, now at the centre of the fierce debate over the country's colonial past. Thousands of people protested outside Oxford University's Oriel College in recent days beneath a statue of Cecil Rhodes, who was a 19th century British mining magnate and politician in southern Africa.
And though I hate to acknowledge it, the privilege is part of me, I could never abolish it. But you can keep your Rhodes scholarship, keep your narrative. We're too smart to swallow it. We're living in the middle of a monolith. And we're here to tear down your monuments. Protest outside the consulate. You betrayed a generation, now deal with the consequence. Yeah, because I'm just trying to make my life work. My life's work more beautiful than Christchurch. They say you never did the right work.
How can you celebrate the colonialism of African countries? How can you celebrate the destruction of African countries? How can you celebrate stealing from African countries?
The University of Cape Town in South Africa removed a statue of Cecil Rhodes in 2016 after months of demonstrations. The Rhodes Must Fall campaign was mirrored in Oxford at the time, but the Oriel College statue remained in its place.
It was Chumane Makwele throwing feces at this statue that started it all, leading to the birth of the Rhodes Must Fall movement. After prolonged protests, students succeeded in having the Rhodes statue removed. The RMF movement says the fall of the statue is symbolic and that the real fight is transformation, something they claim university management is resisting.
There are many foolish students who have attacked Rhodes when his efforts are responsible for sending them to school, when his efforts are responsible for employing thousands of people. Don't let Julius Malema poison your mind. He now wants you to fight for the change of the name of things that he did not build, that you did not build. He promised to build a school, and every time he's asked about the school, he's now blaming white people for his own lies. He promised to build a school, and up to now, over 5 years later, he hasn't done it.
We even own a farm where we're going to build a school.
Yeah, tell me about that school, by the way. You've been talking on social media. You say, where's this school? You said people mustn't vote for you if your school is not there in 5 years. Just deal with that quickly for me.
The school is there. The farm has been bought.
Yeah.
The plans have been approved.
Yeah.
The plans have been drawn.
Yeah.
Material is ready. There are professionals
Yeah.
who are working.
So when will the school be ready?
No, wait. Then that Mogale City
Yeah.
is not approving the plans. They say it's an agricultural land. We have to now, what do you call it?
Rezone, yeah.
The thing. And then when we are about to rezone the thing, those Afrikaners there in Johannesburg
Yeah.
are objecting
Yeah.
to the rezoning of agriculture.
But you still insist it will happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's the powers that be which are blocking it.
Yeah.
It will happen. It's happening now. And remember, in that 5 years, we've got 2 years that were not functional of COVID.
He has had an involvement in the VBS saga with his friend Floyd. Even with the proceeds of the lootings, they have failed to build a school. But they do wear Gucci. They do drive around in Range Rovers and Mercedes Benzes. But hey, rename Rhodes University. Cecil Rhodes was the worst.
Grahamstown has changed the name to Makanda. Why can't this university change a name for a better name?
Malema is disgusting, fighting to rename things that he did not build. Go build the school you promised. Try to use the VBS money if it is still available. And then you can choose to name it after yourself or after Chris Hani or Karl Marx or anyone you wish. If you want to honor people through entities, then make it your job to build and establish entities in honor of historical people. Don't take what someone else has established and just want to put names on it. Cecil Rhodes was not a saint, but he was also not Satan. He was simply a man living in a time when many bad things went unpunished. Many things were done by Cecil Rhodes causing pain and misery. But guess what? Shaka Zulu did many things that caused pain and misery too. Efunroye Tinubu did too. Julius Malema did too. The VBS money will never be forgotten. Where are the schools and scholarships established by people like Julius Malema, Floyd Shibambu, and many like them? What positive, valuable institutions will they be remembered for in history? Instead of working on that, they would much rather destroy what others are remembered for and getting young people to do the same. Wake up, South Africa. Wake up. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Share this with more people. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the comrades.